Let's build your plan to reach financial freedom on just this one page. There are only 4 ways to make money, and you're already in one of them. The tricky part is you may not know which one you're in or how to get to the one that will actually lead to time, location, and financial freedom. Let's solve that by introducing you to 4 people, each of them making money in a different way. First, there's Emily, the employee. Emily is trading her time for money. It might be a little bit of money, it might be a lot of money, but the amount of money that she's trading her time for is determined by her employer. She gets a paycheck every 2 weeks as long as she's working. If she stops putting in the time, she stops getting paid. By the way, if you want a cheat sheet to help you move through this entire one-page business plan that we're about to go over and customize it to yourself, your situation, and your goals, there's a link in the top comment to get your own customized version of what we're going over today. And if it's your first time to the channel, my name is Lili, and I'm documenting my financial freedom journey and bringing you guys along with me. This is the exact plan that I followed to build a $1 million net worth through my investments, as well as a 6-figure online business. So you can grab the link to get that cheat sheet in the top comments, or you can comment the letter of the quadrant that you're currently in, and I'll reply and send it right to you. So we've got Emily in the employee quadrant. Next is Sam, and Sam is the self-employed man. He actually left his job as an employee to be his own boss. He's a freelancer or a coach or a consultant, and he's still trading his time for money, but instead of how much he gets paid being determined by his employer, it's determined by his clients and his customers. But there's a huge catch that comes with being self-employed. Let's imagine that Emily is getting paid $150,000 in her career as an employee, and Sam makes $150,000 being self-employed. For one, there's a certain amount of taxes for Emily's income that were paid by her employer before she got that money. And so her take-home money is in some way post-employment taxes. On the other hand, Sam's income, because it's coming straight from his clients, is pre-tax, meaning he still has to pay self-employment taxes on that income, in addition to income taxes on that income. And so his $150,000 is whittled down a lot faster because of that. But wait, there's more. He also has operating expenses for running his business. At Emily's job, if she needs a certain tool or software in order to do her job, typically her employer is going to pay for that. Sam, as the self-employed man, is going to have to pay for that out of his $150,000 of revenue. When self-employment is done the right way, which I'll show you in just a moment, it can be a path to that financial freedom that we're trying to build. But when it's done the wrong way, it can be a trap. Sam can be working much longer hours and actually taking home a lot less money. So since you're here thinking about how to put together a business plan to help you reach financial freedom, I have to warn you that if you're sitting between the E and the S quadrant right now, and maybe you're a little bit hesitant to go all in to being self-employed, because you see some of these dangers, you got to trust your gut there. But that doesn't mean that you should just stay in the E quadrant and settle for less financial freedom than you really want. But instead of going to S, we want to skip you over to the 3rd quadrant, which is where we're going to meet Bella, the business owner. At first glance, it might seem like Bella and Sam are doing very similar things. And in some ways they are, but while Sam is being paid for his time, Bella is being paid for the results of her systems. They both might be serving the same customer type, which let's just say is families that want help figuring out how to get their high schoolers into an Ivy League college. But the way that they go about it is very different. Sam is likely doing most, if not all of the work himself in order to find those potential clients and then deliver on the service. And he's likely paying himself just a tiny bit, if anything at all. Whereas Bella is using the 1-page system that we're going to go over today in order to run a system that can repeatedly get new clients in the door, get them the same result every single time, and Bella can step out of that system, plug someone else in. The better the system, the more time, location, and financial freedom that Bella has, which is why she's on this right side of the quadrant, which is where we get out of trading our time for money. The master at doing this is Isaac, our investor. While it's Bella's systems that make her money, for Isaac, it's his money that makes him money. He's good friends with someone like Mark Cuban from Shark Tank. He invests in things like real estate, stocks, other people's businesses, and it's his money that's out there working and bringing him a return. For any business plan to actually generate you the time, location, and financial freedom that you really want, it has to be on this right side of the cash flow quadrant. And remember, comment below which quadrant you're earning most of your money in right now, and I'll reply and send you the cheat sheet so you can customize the one-page business plan that we're about to dive into now. There's 3 stages of building a business. Is going to repeatedly bring in interested leads and have them turn into customers, and that's what allows you to repeatedly pay yourself and feel confident that you've built a business on the right side of the cash flow quadrant that's going to give you that freedom. Those 3 stages are getting noticed, getting known, and then getting paid. You can get noticed by your ideal client in one of 2 ways. You can attract them to your brand so they can come and find you, or you can go out and you can approach them and bring them back to being interested in your brand. Let's say you're running that business where you're helping people get their kids into an Ivy League college. You could post TikToks, you could write articles, you could even just have happy customers telling people about what you do. And all of those would be activities that would be attracting people to your brand. On the other hand, you could go out and approach people both online and in person. You could send cold emails, you could go out to high schools and make presentations, and that would be a way to approach an audience and potentially bring them back to being interested in what you're doing. But no matter what, when you finally break through all of the noise of the millions of distractions and things that we put our attention on each day and get somebody to notice you and your business, the next thing you want to do is not ask them to buy something for you. Instead of jumping right to getting paid, we first want to get known. The reason for this is that Google found it takes 7 hours across 11 occurrences in 4 different locations for someone to really feel like they know, like, and trust your brand. Think about your classmates in school or your first day at a new job. When you're around those people that you don't know, that you've spent less than 7 hours with, you may feel a little bit shy. You don't really feel like they know you or you know them. But as you build up the amount of time that you spend with them, and as you build up the number of occurrences that you see them, that relationship will start to deepen. Even if you don't necessarily like those coworkers or those classmates, you do feel like you know them a lot better. And if it is a good relationship, you'll start to feel like you trust them a lot more. And then I think the most important part of this formula is the 4, because when you interact with someone in multiple different locations, it quickly strengthens those bonds. You just see a coworker at work, but then one day you go out to get drinks or go out to dinner together, you're immediately going to have an even closer relationship. And then if you're like me and my friends, we love to play pickleball. So not only do you see them at work, you went and got drinks, you played pickleball, you might get lunch or hit the pool after. The more locations that you interact with someone is really going to hypercharge that trust, which is going to make it easier for you to then get paid. If you try to jump from just getting noticed straight to getting paid, then you haven't sufficiently built up that know, like, and trust by 7-11 foring someone, then it's going to be a much harder sale. And I'll tell you in a moment exactly how you can build up that 7-11 for. But remember, the 3rd step in our business plan is actually getting paid. And this is where most people start. They start with what we call this business engine instead of putting what I like to call a content engine on top of it in order to make it easier and faster for people to decide to work with you. And I promise I'm not trying to tell you that you have to become an influencer. The way that you can work this content engine can start very simply in the get noticed section. You really just need one of 4 types of assets in order to get noticed. You can have content assets, which would not be like an entire library of YouTube content, but just a few key pieces of video or written content that is going to tell someone who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. You can think of this like the video on your website, or a pinned post at the top of your Instagram page, or a blog or welcome email that you send to all of the new people who are interested in doing business with you. This is just content that they can encounter upon first noticing you that tells them a little bit about who you are and what you have going on. You could also have outreach assets. So if you're going out and approaching people who might be interested in your business, you have some type of asset. Maybe it's a physical flyer, maybe it's a mini ebook that you are giving them in order to, again, educate them about who you are and how you can help them. There's also referral assets. If you have happy customers who know other people that might want to work with you, then you can give those happy customers a gift card or a referral bonus for making that referral. And then finally, there's paid ad assets. I personally don't run any paid ads, but you can imagine that if you had a couple of ads that you put on Facebook or Google, they would be the first thing that someone would encounter about your brand, and that would get them to notice you before moving into the get known section. There's 4 get known assets that you can use to build up that 7-11-4. And this is where content can really supercharge the relationship you build with people and therefore the amount of people that decide to work with you. But it's not easy to do on your own. I personally have what I call my content crew, which is going to mainly be made up of first a video editor, a thumbnail designer, and then potentially someone who is a YouTube strategist. This is what it looks like behind the scenes of my channel, as well as behind the scenes of all the channels that I help run through my YouTube agency. If you are interested in having us build a content crew for you so that it gets easier for you to consistently make content, there'll be a link in the top comment and you can see if you qualify to work with us. But even if you don't have a ton of content yet, in order to 7-11 for someone, there are 3 other assets that are going to help you to build this up. The first is your lead generation offer. And all this means is that it's something for free that you can offer to those people who noticed you, but you're going to exchange that free thing for their email address. This is just taking one step further down your business plan for that person to say, okay, I am going to trust you with my contact information. I'm going to get some extra value from you through this lead generation offer, and that'll deepen our relationship a little bit more, increasing that 7-11-4. Lead generation offers could be anything like the cheat sheet that I'm offering you to customize your own business plan. If you're helping people eat healthy meals, it could be some free meal plans. Whatever it is something that's really valuable that you're giving away, usually for free in exchange for contact information. When you get that contact information, that person is going to go into your set of automations. This is going to be a set of welcome emails that maybe goes out over the next couple of days or weeks to tell them more about your brand, bring them back in to engage with you, and potentially get the chance to purchase something from you. So when you customize your business plan, it'll give you some suggestions that you can use here. The final asset in this get known space is something I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but it's a low ticket offer before we get to your core offer. You'll hear a lot of people out there, including myself, saying raise your prices, raise your prices. And I do recommend that you have a core offer in your business that is at least $1,500. But remember, we're trying to build know, like, and trust with people. And so if they go from just getting something free in order to having to make that big jump, and it doesn't quite feel right to them, they're not yet ready to make that big investment with you, we want to have a lower ticket offer that they can take advantage of, that you can deliver really, really well on, and then that will gain the trust to move them into your business engine. Think of that family trying to get their kid into an Ivy League school. Maybe you have a 3-month program that's $1,500 a month that is going to completely overhaul their entry essays and help them with their SATs and all of the things that you know will help them get to their goal. That may be a very valuable thing, but it's also a high ticket to start with. And so your low ticket offer could be an SAT score review for $100, something like that, that will just show them you know what you're talking about, give them a middle step before taking that next step into your business engine, which would be your core offer. You have at least one get known asset that's going to build up that relationship with them. It could be content, it could be an email sequence, it could be that low ticket offer, but you have at least one there. And in the get paid section, you have your core offer. Now, don't get overwhelmed. I know there's a lot here, but this is a business plan that can grow with you. You can start with a very bare bones version of this with just maybe 1 or 2 assets from each stage. And that'll be the start of getting you into that B quadrant and building up some of that financial freedom that you're looking for. As you add in the different assets, maybe you don't just approach people, but you also attract people. Maybe you don't just have a lead offer, you also have a low ticket offer. As you build those things up, then you're going to continue to rise through the levels of financial freedom. And one of the best ways to do that is to not just have a core offer in your business, but to also have a few other components. The first would simply be onboarding standard operating procedures. This sounds so boring, but it is just what happens from the moment someone decides to swipe their credit card and pay you to the moment they actually get their first piece of value. You want to make that process as smooth as possible, and you want to make that process as short as possible. Ideally, in a perfect world, someone would swipe their credit card and pay you and get the result that they paid for right then and there. This is why people like fast food. But for your business, while you may not be able to do that immediately, you can make a checklist that makes sure the process goes smoothly and it happens as quickly as possible. Then you have another set of checklists that is going to be, okay, they got their first piece of value. How do they get the full amount of value that they paid for? How do we do that as quickly and as smoothly as possible? And if we've done that, how do we then get a testimonial or a referral from them so that we can continue to grow the social proof in our business and make it easier for other people to want to work with us in the future? And if that's a happy client that just finished working with us, just gave us a testimonial, what type of continuity offer or ongoing month-to-month offer can we give them so that they can continue working with us and continue getting value from our business? This one-page business plan absolutely changed my life, and I want it to do the same for you. So remember, there's a link in the top comment where you can get this customized for you and figure out exactly how to take the potential market of people that could be interested in how you can serve them, move them through the stages of noticing who you are, getting to know you, and then making the decision to pay you. Doing this all in a systemized way where you're in that B quadrant as a business owner and you're generating the time, location, and financial freedom that you're looking for. If you made it this far in the video, you're the exact type of person I would love to help at our 5-day self-funded freedom challenge. It's hosted on Zoom. You can check out the link in the top comment. And until next time, thank you for watching.